She raised their son alone. He built an empire in silence. 10 years of distance. One child, and a secret that changes everything. What happens when the man who left sees his son for the first time? This is a story of heartbreak, forgiveness, and a family rebuilt. One truth at a time. Welcome to today's story. Only here. Only on this channel. If AMBW stories of love, faith, and redemption speak to your soul, subscribe and come be part of something beautiful. Now, let's begin. Hamburg, Germany, winter. The sky outside Lisa Monroe's classroom was a soft gray with streaks of fading gold bleeding into the clouds like a watercolor sunset. Snow hadn't come yet, but the wind hinted it was on its way. Inside, the hum of fourth period English class wrapped around her like a familiar tune. But Lisa's eyes kept drifting to the wall clock. "All right, everyone," she said with a warm clap of her hands. "Homework over the weekend. Write a short story set on a train. Use at least 5 adjectives. Bonus points if your characters fall in love or solve a mystery." A few students groaned. Lisa smiled. Life happens on trains. People meet, people leave, and sometimes, her voice caught for half a second. She cleared it. Sometimes people come back. The bell rang. Her son, Noah, was already waiting outside the classroom, his winter coat slightly crooked and his curls sticking out from beneath a wool cap. He was 10 going on 40, serious, observant, and quietly brilliant. Lisa stepped out and smiled. "What's up, baby?" "I submitted something." Her brows lifted. "Submitted what?" He handed her a colorful flyer from his backpack. It read, Young Future Innovators Contest, H&K Transport Seoul Headquarters. Design the future of global transportation. Ages 9 to 14. Finalists win a trip to Seoul and a scholarship offer. "I submitted my train map idea. You know, the one with the international high-speed route through Germany, China, and South Korea." Lisa's blood went cold for a beat. She stared at the bold name printed across the top, H&K Transport. "Why that company?" she asked gently. Noah shrugged. "They're the best. I watched the CEO's documentary online. He built everything from scratch. People call him the ghost builder because no one knows his private life." Lisa's throat tightened. Ghost indeed. She took a slow breath and pushed down the old ache blooming in her chest. "Sweetheart," she began, but then paused. What was she going to say? That company is owned by the man who left me? That you just submitted a project to your own father without knowing? She crouched beside him instead. "I'm proud of you, Noah. Truly. Just, next time, give me a heads up, okay?" He nodded. "Sorry, I just really want to win." Lisa ruffled his curls and kissed his forehead. "Let's go home." Later. That evening, the apartment was small but warm, lit by soft lamps and scented with cinnamon and rosemary. Lisa stirred a pot of soup while Noah sat cross-legged on the living room floor, sketching train routes in his notebook. On the shelf above them was a photo, Lisa holding baby Noah, wrapped in a soft blue blanket. No man in sight. "Do I have to stay with Mrs. Baumgartner again next week?" Noah asked. Lisa turned. "Just for a few days. I'll be in Seoul." "Again?" "It's a teaching exchange. Just long enough to prepare for the spring semester. They're partnering with my school." "Can I come?" Lisa hesitated. She'd requested it, not for nostalgia, but for closure. Her heart wasn't ready to see Seoul through Noah's eyes, but something in his tone made her pause. "You really want to come?" Noah nodded. "South Korea is like my favorite place, and I don't know. I just want to see where all the trains meet." Lisa chuckled softly. "All right, let me check with the program. No promises." He grinned. "Thanks, Mama." As he ran off to put on his pajamas, Lisa pulled out her old travel binder, packed with maps, teaching notes, and long-forgotten memories. In the back, taped to the last page, was a faded photo of her and Ha-kyun from 11 years ago. His arms were around her. They were laughing. She stared at it now, her eyes distant. "You disappeared without goodbye," she whispered, "but you left behind a little boy with your fire, your brain, and your eyes." Seoul, inside the H&K headquarters, a young intern rushes into a glass office with a file. "Sir," he says breathlessly, "finalists have been selected for the Youth Logistics Program." CEO Kim Ha-kyun doesn't look up. "Good. Email the invites." "Already done." He glances at the top file as he leaves. A name catches his eye. Noah Monroe, age 10, Germany, special project, connecting nations through trains. Ha-kyun pauses. Just for a second. The name means nothing to him yet, but everything is about to change. Houston, Texas. 11 years ago. The Texas heat wrapped around them like a blanket as they lay on a picnic blanket beneath a live oak tree. Cicadas buzzed lazily overhead. Lisa Monroe was 26, her curls pulled up into a bun, laughter sparkling in her eyes. She held a cheap gas station soda in one hand and Ha-kyun's hand in the other. "Say it," she teased. "I already said it." "No," she said, scooting closer. "Say it again. The full sentence." Ha-kyun, 30, smiled shyly. His Korean accent was still heavy, his English precise. "I love you, Lisa Monroe," he said. "Even more than kolbangi." She burst out laughing. "You mean kalguksu?" He nodded seriously. "That one. Noodles." Lisa leaned in and kissed him. "You're getting better." He looked at her with that quiet intensity that always made her heart stop. "I want this forever." And for a moment she believed it. Back to the present. 1 week later, the plane taxied to a stop. Lisa gripped Noah's hand, her knuckles pale. Noah leaned forward against the window. "Everything looks so big." Lisa swallowed hard. "It is." They stepped out into Incheon Airport's sleek terminal. Lisa's nerves buzzed beneath her skin. She had prepped for this, scheduled the school visit, checked the hotel. She could handle being in the same city as him. She thought she could. Later, downtown Seoul, near H&K headquarters, Lisa and Noah walked through Gangnam, suitcases trailing behind them. A local friend, Jin A, waved them down in front of a cafe. "You haven't aged a day," Jin A said, hugging Lisa tight. "Your son, he's tall. Come on, we'll grab a taxi." They walked through the bustling street. Then, Lisa froze. Across the street, towering over Seoul like a monument, was a digital billboard. It shimmered between ads, and then paused on one. Kim Ha-kyun, CEO of H&K Transport. Vision, innovation, legacy. The image was crisp. Ha-kyun, now 41, in a dark tailored suit. Handsome, cold-eyed, power etched into every feature. Lisa's bag slipped from her hand. Her knees buckled. "Lisa!" Janae cried, catching her before she hit the pavement. Noah stood frozen, looking up at the billboard. Ginny waved for help as Lisa blinked rapidly, tears burning behind her eyes. "Mama?" Noah whispered. "Are you okay?" Lisa nodded slowly, but her voice cracked. "I just need a minute." Noah looked back up at the screen. The silence between them was thick. "He looks like me," he said quietly. Lisa stared at her son, and she knew this trip wasn't going to be about teaching. It was going to be about telling the truth. Houston. The day he left, Lisa sat on the edge of the bed, Ha-kyun's suitcase open on the floor. He paced, his face pale, a letter in his hand, in Korean. "My mother's condition worsened," he said. She wants to see me, before it's too late." "Okay," Lisa said slowly. "I'll come. You don't have to go through this alone." He didn't meet her eyes. "She also wants me to marry someone from back home." Silence. A bomb with no sound. Lisa stood. "What?" "It's complicated. I'm the only son. There's pressure. Her family. They still hold old traditions. I didn't plan this. I didn't. Are you leaving me to honor your family's racism?" "Lisa, are you going to marry someone else?" Ha-kyun broke. "I don't want to, but she's dying. She gave me everything. I can't just walk away." Lisa stepped back, trembling. "So you're choosing legacy over love?" "I'm trying to do what's right." "No, you're doing what's safe." She threw the ring at him. It bounced once on the hardwood and rolled to a stop. He never picked it up. Present day, Lisa's hotel room. That night, Lisa stood by the window of her hotel suite. Noah was asleep, clutching his favorite train book. The skyline of Seoul glittered beyond the glass. Lisa pulled out her journal, the one she stopped writing in years ago. She flipped to a blank page. "Dear Ha-kyun, I told myself I was over you, that I moved on, that our son didn't need a man who chose silence. But he asked me tonight why I flinched when I saw your face, and I had no answer, only tears. Why did you leave me? And why does he look so much like you it hurts to breathe?" She closed the journal and looked toward the glowing billboard in the distance. "God," she whispered, "I need wisdom, because I don't want to hate him, and I don't want to lie anymore." Inside H&K Transport HQ, Ha-kyun walked through the pristine executive hallway, tablet in hand. His assistant, Min-jun, followed close behind. "We've invited the top 10 finalists from the youth competition," Min-jun said. "Here's the list." Ha-kyun stopped at the elevator, scanned the names. One caught his eye again. Noah Monroe, age 10, Germany. Guardian, Lisa Monroe. His heart skipped a beat. He blinked as if the name might change. It didn't. Lisa Monroe, his past, and maybe his future, had arrived in Seoul. Lisa opens her email inbox. Subject: Your son has been selected. Orientation at H&K headquarters. Location: Executive Boardroom, 57th floor, Seoul Tower 2. The moment she's dreaded, the moment she can't avoid, face him, or lie to her son forever. Seoul International School, morning. Lisa stood beside Noah as parents and children buzzed around the school's entry gates. Her shoulders were tight, her coat buttoned all the way up despite the unseasonable warmth. Noah tugged on her sleeve. "Mama, why won't you tell me why you looked so sad yesterday?" She knelt down, brushing his scarf gently. "Because some memories are heavy, Noah. Even when they're old." He tilted his head. "But you always say truth is lighter than lies." Her throat tightened. She smiled faintly. "I did say that." "Then just tell me." Lisa looked away. "Soon." H&K Transport Headquarters, Seoul Executive Wing. The walls were silver and glass. Everything polished. Everything calculated. Kim Ha-kyun walked briskly through the corridor, flanked by his assistant Min-jun. "Sir, the youth award ceremony is this afternoon," Min-jun said. "Your press team wants you to speak on building the next generation of leaders." Ha-kyun didn't respond. He stopped at the corner office and stared out at the Seoul skyline. "Did you confirm all the finalists?" "Yes, including the German student, Noah Monroe." The silence stretched. Min-jun waited. Finally, Ha-kyun said, low and clipped, "Reschedule my board meeting. I'll attend." Lisa's temporary school campus, Afternoon. Lisa sat in the teacher's lounge, the invitation to the ceremony open on her phone. H&K Executive Building, 3 p.m. Award presenter, CEO Kim Ha-kyun. Her hands trembled. Jin-A entered behind her, holding 2 coffees. Still thinking about it? Lisa stared at the screen. He'll see him. Do you want him to? Lisa whispered. No, but I think I want Noah to see him before I tell him the truth. Just once, without knowing, to decide for himself what kind of man he is. Later that day, H&K headquarters, Grand Auditorium. The marble floors gleamed under Noah's sneakers as he walked hand in hand with Lisa into the towering lobby. Children from around the world gathered with parents and cameras. A large screen displayed the top 5 projects. Noah's was front and center. Connecting Nations Through Trains, A Dream of Harmony, Noah Monroe, Germany. Lisa read the words and felt like the air left her lungs. He'd done it. He had no idea who he was reaching toward, and yet he had drawn a map that unknowingly mirrored the same empire his father built. Backstage, just before the ceremony, Ha-kyun adjusted his tie in the mirror, but his gaze was unfocused. His mind played tricks on him. Memories of Lisa in Houston, her laughter in the rain, the way she pronounced his name like it belonged in her mouth. And then, that name again, Noah Monroe. He turned to Minjun. Do we have the project file? Minjun handed him a tablet. Ha-kyun scrolled, pausing on the boy's photo. Black curls, big eyes, strong jaw. Something in him twisted. He doesn't look like a stranger. Main hall. Award ceremony begins. The announcer called out, "Please welcome H&K's CEO, Mr. Kim Ha-kyun, to the stage." Applause. Flashing cameras. Ha-kyun walked out in calm, collected strides, the public mask perfect. From the audience, Lisa held her breath. Noah whispered, "That's him, the ghost builder. He doesn't even have Wikipedia facts." Ha-kyun took the microphone. Innovation is not about speed. It's about purpose. And today, we honor the next generation of thinkers who see connection as something more than convenience. They see it as community. He glanced down at the envelope. And our top prize goes to... He opened it. His hand stilled. Noah Monroe from Germany. A stillness swept the room. Noah stood, stunned. Lisa hesitated. "Go on," she whispered. He walked up to the stage. Ha-kyun watched him approach. Each step made the boy more real. He handed Noah the trophy, but for a moment, their hands touched, and time seemed to stutter. The boy looked up. "Thank you, sir." Ha-kyun's voice barely came out. "You did well." His eyes shifted. To the crowd, to the second row, to her, Lisa. The past, in living color. His jaw tensed, the mask cracked. The entire room faded into blur. As cameras flash, the screen behind them displays Noah's winning design. Lisa stares up at the 2 figures on stage. One is her son. The other is the man she once believed would be her husband. The man now standing inches from the child he never knew existed. Ha-kyun slowly turns back to Noah, then glances again at Lisa. Realization, regret, shock. His expression hardens. Not in anger, but in impact. As if the world just dropped a weight on his chest. His fingers tremble slightly as he whispers to no one. "Lisa, what did you never tell me?" Toe outside the auditorium, after the ceremony. Cameras flashed. Applause faded. The crowd trickled out of the grand marble halls. Lisa grabbed Noah's hand, murmuring, "Let's go." But the CEO wants to take a picture with... "Not now, baby." From the far side of the stage, Kim Ha-kyun descended the stairs like a man possessed. His eyes locked on Lisa through the shifting crowd. "Lisa!" She didn't turn. "Lisa!" His voice cut through the noise this time. Sharp, commanding. She stopped. Slowly, she turned to face him. Noah looked up, confused. "Mama?" Lisa crouched. "Go with Miss Jinnae for a few minutes, okay? I'll be right behind you." Noah frowned, but obeyed. "Okay." He walked off, leaving them alone for the first time in a decade. Outside the building, the sounds of Seoul buzzed in the distance. Traffic, city breath, the faint music of life continuing like nothing had just fractured in two people's chests. Ha-kyun approached slowly. Lisa stood stiffly, arms folded, her back to the glass building that bore his name. "You didn't tell me," he said quietly. "Why?" She let out a hollow laugh. "That's your first question? You kept him from me." "No," she said, voice firm. "You left me." "I had to." "You disappeared, Ha-kyun." Her voice cracked. No call, no letter, no visit, just silence. He took a step forward. "You knew where I was. You could have." Lisa snapped. "Do not twist this." He flinched. "I wrote to you," she said, voice trembling. "Letters, emails. I even sent one to your family's restaurant. I begged. I cried. I told you I was pregnant. And then I waited." "What?" "Nothing came back. So I told myself you didn't want him. Or me. And I moved on." Ha-kyun's breath caught. "No," he whispered. "No. I never got anything. Not a word." Lisa stared at him. "Then who?" They both froze. His face shifted, eyes narrowing as something clicked. "My uncle," he said. Lisa blinked. "What?" "He handled all my mail after my mother died. He said there were no messages." Lisa's hands dropped to her sides. "He lied to me." Silence. Only the sound of the fountain behind them. Ha-kyun stepped back, almost stumbling. His hands trembled. He whispered, "Is he?" Lisa didn't answer. He dropped to his knees. Not dramatically, but like a man whose entire world tilted on its axis and offered no support. "Lisa," his voice cracked, "is he my son?" She didn't answer with words. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small, worn photograph. Noah at 5, missing a front tooth, smiling in front of a science fair project, maglev trains, and the future of transit. She held it out. He took it with shaking hands. Tears blurred his vision. "I missed everything." He stood slowly, pocketing the photo with reverence. "I need to know him." Lisa looked away. "He doesn't know you exist. He thinks you're just some CEO." "Then tell me what I'm supposed to be now." "I don't know," she said honestly, "but I'm not doing this fast, and I'm not doing this for you." "I'm not asking you to." She turned. "He deserves to choose," she said, "not just be claimed like a corporate asset." Ha-kyun's voice was almost a whisper. "I don't want him for my empire." She stopped walking. He added brokenly, "I want him because I think he might be the only part of me that's still human." That night, Lisa stands at the hotel window, watching Seoul shimmer. Noah sleeps nearby. Her phone lights up. A message from Ha-kyun. "Can I take him for ice cream?" Just once. No explanations. No pressure. Just a moment with him. She stares at the screen, weighing the past and the fragile thread of trust. One afternoon, Hangang Park, Seoul. The world slowed around them. Cherry blossom leaves danced in the wind. Noah sat on a park bench, spoon deep in a cup of mint choco ice cream, eyes flicking between the passing bicycles and the man beside him. Kim Ha-kyun sat rigid, legs crossed, suit immaculate even on a casual outing. He held a second cup of ice cream awkwardly, as though it might betray him. "Why are you eating so slow?" Noah asked. "I'm not used to dessert in the daytime." Noah squinted at him. "You're weird." Ha-kyun glanced down. "Yes, I suppose I am. A beat." Then Noah offered, "I eat this when I'm sad." "Mama says it's like medicine without a prescription." Ha-kyun nodded. "She used to say that to me too." Nearby, Lisa sits on a bench within view, watching, hands clenched in her lap, eyes scanning every movement, protective, cautious, afraid to hope. Jin-A sat beside her, sipping a latte. "You okay?" she asked. "No." Jin-A glanced toward the pair. "He doesn't seem terrible." Lisa let out a dry laugh. "That's the problem. He's not." She paused. "He's trying. And that makes it worse. Because if he wasn't, I could walk away without guilt." Later, that evening, Lisa sat at the tiny desk, Noah's school bag on the floor beside her, his shoes kicked off in the corner. She pulled out a leather-bound journal. The spine cracked when she opened it. She wrote, "Today he took Noah for ice cream, and Noah came back laughing. I should be relieved, but instead I'm grieving. Not the lost years. I'm grieving the woman I used to be when she still believed love didn't hurt this much." The following day, upscale cafe in Gangnam, Lisa met a school colleague for tea, but the woman canceled last minute. So she sat alone at the reserved table until a voice behind her said, "You're Lisa Monroe?" Lisa turned. A beautiful Korean woman, mid-30s, with flawless posture and sharp eyes, stood in an ivory coat. "I'm Jisoo, Ha-kyun's ex-wife." Lisa froze. The woman sat without asking. "Don't worry. I'm not here to fight. I divorced him 2 years ago. No children, no legacy to bind us." Lisa cleared her throat. "Then what do you want?" Jisoo stirred her tea gently. "To warn you." About? About him. And his empire. H&K doesn't forgive easily. The board is watching. His uncle still pulls strings behind the scenes. You think this reunion is romantic? It's not. It's war. And that little boy of yours? He just became a pawn. Lisa's face hardened. Noah is not a pawn. "You'll learn," Jisoo said coldly. "Loving a man like Ha-kyun is never quiet. It's never safe." Lisa and Noah, back at the apartment. Lisa helped Noah unpack his school bag. A flyer slipped out. A sketch Noah had drawn of himself, Lisa, and Ha-kyun. A family of 3, holding hands. She folded it carefully and put it in her notebook. That night, as she tucked Noah in, he looked at her with tired eyes. "Mama?" "Yes, baby?" He hesitated. "Is Mr. Kim really my dad?" Lisa froze. He added softly, "I heard you two talking outside the building the other day. I wasn't trying to spy, but I heard you say he didn't know, and I heard him ask." She sat down on the bed, suddenly breathless. "Why didn't you tell me?" Lisa opened her mouth, but no words came. Just tears. She reached out and pulled him close. "Because I was scared," she whispered. "Scared he wouldn't care. Scared you'd get hurt. Scared of hoping again." Noah didn't answer, but he didn't pull away. He just held on. And Lisa wept. Ha-kyun stood in his penthouse, a fire flickering in the corner. He stared at the old photo Lisa had given him. Next to it, he'd placed a newer one, taken secretly at the ice cream outing. He and Noah, mid-laugh. He touched the frame, and for the first time in years, he prayed, "God, I don't know how to be his father, but I want to learn." Back at the apartment, Lisa flips open her journal and begins to write. He asked me if I lied to protect him, or to protect myself. The truth is, I don't know anymore. Weekend, Seoul Science and Tech Museum, Children's Lab. Noah's eyes lit up as they stepped into the wide, high-ceiling lab filled with gears, miniature tracks, sensors, and control panels. This is so cool, he breathed. Ha-kyun followed, slightly out of place in a crisp navy sweater over a collared shirt. He carried a tote bag with parts they'd bought earlier that morning. Miniature rails, magnetic tracks, and a 3D printed station base. They decided on a weekend, father-son engineering day. At least that's what Noah called it. Ha-kyun just called it a beginning. Okay, Ha-kyun said, setting down the bag awkwardly. Do we follow instructions? Noah smirked. We make our own. They knelt side by side on the workshop mat. Noah arranged tracks with the precision of someone twice his age. Ha-kyun read the magnetic calibrator manual like a man preparing for an international summit. You don't have to read the whole thing, Noah said. Just follow the red and blue. I like to be thorough, Noah grinned. You really are a CEO. Ha-kyun smirked faintly. You say that like it's a bad thing. Noah looked up and said, in the same honest way he'd once asked if ice cream could fix sadness. It's not bad. Just, I don't want a CEO. I want a dad. Ha-kyun's hand froze over a wire. I want to be that, he said softly, if you'll let me. Behind the glass upstairs, Lisa stood with Jin-ai, watching her son kneel beside the man who once shattered her. He looks happy, Jin-ai said gently. Lisa didn't respond. Her arms were folded, but her jaw was tight. They're building a railway, Jinny added. No, Lisa murmured, eyes misting. They're trying to build time. Lisa's phone buzzed as they walked home later that evening. Headline: Korean CEO's mystery woman, single mother from Germany, stirs inheritance debate. Is the foreign woman behind H&K's rumored heir just another gold digger? Photos taken from outside the ice cream shop, blurred captions, old photos from Houston dug up. Lisa's heart sank. Her phone buzzed again, then again, and again. Ginny called. Don't say anything to the press. Don't react. Just breathe. But the knot in her stomach returned. The same one she'd felt in Houston the day he left. The one that whispered, "You're not enough for their world." Press conference, Monday morning. Ha-kyun stood at a press podium inside H&K's media wing. Reporters snapped photos as he cleared his throat and stared into the flashing chaos. I will address the rumor directly, he said calmly. The woman in question is Miss Lisa Monroe, an educator, a published scholar in cross-cultural pedagogy, and the mother of an extraordinary child. He paused. My child? Gasps. He continued. I was unaware of his existence until recently. That's my failure, not hers. He glanced toward the cameras. And anyone suggesting Ms. Monroe sought this company's legacy through manipulation clearly doesn't know her. She didn't come here for power. She came here for her son. Lisa watching the live feed. Jin-A turned up the volume. Lisa sat frozen on the sofa. Noah peeked around the corner, chewing on toast. Ha-kyun's voice echoed through the screen. H&K doesn't just build logistics. We're learning to rebuild trust as a man, as a father. And if legacy means anything at all, it starts with owning your past. Later. That evening, Noah ran to the table and pulled Ha-kyun's name plaque from a printed magazine article. Can I keep this? Lisa raised an eyebrow. Why? I want to glue it to our train station. That way it's real, like we're building something together. Lisa looked at him, then at the plaque, then at the photo. Her heart cracked open a little more. Later that night, Lisa sat alone with her journal. He didn't have to defend me. He could have stayed quiet, but he didn't. And for the first time, I don't feel ashamed of the woman I became without him. The moon hung low over the Han River, reflecting pale gold on the surface below. Lisa stepped out onto the narrow balcony, wrapping her cardigan tighter as the breeze whispered through the air. Behind her, Noah slept soundly. The apartment was quiet, for once. A soft knock on the front door broke the stillness. She opened it cautiously. Ha-kyun stood there in a dark coat, a paper bag in hand. I didn't want to text. I wasn't sure if I'd send it. Lisa raised an eyebrow. Send what? He lifted the bag. Samgyetang. You said once it was your comfort food. Her eyes softened, just slightly. You remembered that? I remember everything. The soup sat between them, steam curling like a memory. They didn't speak at first. Then, I watched your press conference, Lisa said quietly. You didn't have to do that. I did. For Noah? Ha-kyun shook his head. For you. Lisa looked away. I've had 10 years to build a company, Lisa. 10 years to try and forget. And I couldn't. She studied him for a long beat. Why didn't you come back? He breathed slowly. Because I thought I'd ruined you. Lisa laughed bitterly. You did. Silence. Then she said, almost trembling, you know what it's like to be 27, pregnant, abandoned, and terrified? I worked 3 jobs, taught English, cleaned offices, slept on couches while Noah teethed. Tears welled in her eyes. I was ashamed of every prayer I whispered, because I still asked God to bless you, even while I was breaking. When I got an offer in Germany, I took it and ran. Ha-kyun bowed his head, jaw clenched. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you, he whispered. I left because I didn't think I had the right to fight. My mother died believing I'd obeyed her, but it cost me you, and him, and myself. Lisa wiped her eyes. You could have written, called. I tried. Once, your line was disconnected. That was after I had to sell my phone. They both broke into a pained silence. They sat on the couch now, inches apart, the air between them thick. Ha-kyun turned to her slowly. I never loved anyone else. Lisa looked at him, eyes fierce but soft. I wanted to hate you, she said. Do you still? I think I forgot how. He reached forward, slowly, fingers brushing hers. Her breath caught. They leaned in, closer. His forehead rested against hers. It wasn't lust. It was grief, love, bruised but breathing. And then, a small voice broke the moment. Mama? They turned. Noah stood in the hallway, rubbing his eyes, clutching a stuffed toy. He stared at them. Lisa pulled away instantly, rising. Noah, sweetheart. He looked between them, confused, hurt. Were you kissing? No, Lisa said quickly. It was just... Ha-kyun rose too. We were just talking, Noah. That's all. Noah looked at Lisa. Are you getting back together? Lisa hesitated. I don't know, she said honestly. Are you going to leave again? He asked Ha-kyun. Ha-kyun's voice cracked. No. Noah stared a little longer, then walked back to bed without another word. Lisa's journal. Tonight he said he never loved anyone else, but love doesn't always fix everything. Sometimes, it just reminds you of what still needs to be rebuilt. In his car, Ha-kyun sits in the dark. He stares at a childhood photo of Noah, one Lisa gave him. He holds it to his chest and whispers, like a vow, I'm not just here to win her back. I'm here to earn the right to stay. Sunday morning, Soul Grace Fellowship Church. Sunlight spilled through the stained glass windows as soft worship music played. Lisa stood beside Noah in the 3rd row, swaying gently as the last verse of Great is Thy Faithfulness rose around them. Next to her stood Hakyun, hands at his sides, uncertain, still. He didn't sing, but he stayed. When the final amen echoed, he whispered, "That was peaceful." Lisa nodded, folding her bulletin. "It's been our sanctuary," when things got loud. Noah tugged his sleeve. "Do you pray, Mr. Kim?" Hakyun blinked. "Not much anymore." Noah tilted his head. "Maybe you should try again." "I did." Lisa turned, surprised. "You did?" "Last night," Noah shrugged. "I asked God if we were a family now. I said, He didn't have to answer fast. Just let me know somehow." Hakyun's throat tightened. He looked at Lisa. She looked back. And in that shared glance, something unspoken passed. Let's go slowly, but let's go together. Lisa's apartment Sunday evening. The small kitchen was filled with smoke. Okay, don't panic," Lisa said, fanning the pan. "I'm not panicking. You're panicking," Hakyun protested, grabbing the vent fan remote. Noah laughed hysterically from the table. "The bulgogi is black." Lisa held up a charred piece of meat with tongs. "We've invented charcoal marinated beef." Hakyun grinned. "It's artisanal," Noah gasped. "That means expensive for no reason." They all burst into laughter. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. But it was the first time in years that Lisa had laughed like this. In her own kitchen. With the man she used to love and the boy she'd raised on her own. Later, that night, Lisa's journal. He sat with us in church. Ate burnt dinner without complaint. Held Noah's hand crossing the street. There's no strategy here. Just steps. Small, but real. Monday, H&K headquarters, executive wing. Inside a glass office, Chairman Kim Byung-shik, Hakyun's uncle, reviewed security footage and recent board reports. His assistant placed a printed profile on the desk. "Kim Noah," the assistant said, 10 years old, born in Germany. Mother, Lisa Monroe. Byung-shik's hand stilled. "Kim," he echoed. "DNA confirmed. He's Hakyun's biological son." Byung-shik's jaw clenched. "So, the boy is the heir." The assistant hesitated. "That changes succession expectations." Byung-shik sat back, cold calculation behind his eyes. "It changes everything." Same day, Lisa received a surprise invitation to H&K's upcoming gala, a high-profile investor dinner. The invite was impersonal, plain. She stared at the envelope, then at the return name, Chairman Kim Byung-shik. A single note was written inside. "We should speak soon. Family to family." Her stomach turned. Noah's room. That night, Noah sat cross-legged on the floor, building a new version of his train system. "Mom? Yeah?" "I think God answered." She turned from folding laundry. "He did?" He nodded, serious. "You and Mr. Kim smiled at the same time today. It was tiny, but I saw it." Lisa's heart cracked open. "Maybe that means we're a family now." She knelt beside him and whispered, "Maybe we are." Inside his office, Byung-shik speaks into the phone. "If that boy is publicly acknowledged, the board will back him. But if there's scandal, the legacy fractures. Watch them closely. The mother is the weak point. She doesn't belong in this world." H&K private executive boardroom. The lights were low. The walls gleamed with old portraits of founders, all men, all solemn, all staring down from power. Kim Byung-shik, sharp in a traditional Navy suit, paced before the seated Hakyun. "You made a public declaration," Byung-shik said, voice even but cold. "You acknowledge the boy." "I didn't come here to ask permission," Hakyun replied. "You should have." Because you've exposed the family name to scandal, international press, a foreign woman, an illegitimate child. Hakyun stood. Say it again. Byung-shik narrowed his eyes. You heard me, Hakyun said, quiet fury behind every word. Say illegitimate in front of me again, and I'll walk into the next press conference and hand him my shares. Byung-shik's mouth twitched. You want to give him your name? Fine. Then make it legal. Marry the woman. Hakyun froze. The older man continued. A child without a legitimate mother is an orphan in the eyes of inheritance law. I won't use marriage as a PR tool. Then walk away from the boy. A beat. Hakyun met his uncle's stare with steel in his spine. No one gets to tell me how to love my son. He walked out, leaving silence behind. Later that day, Lisa sat in a cafe near Seoul campus. She opened the envelope and blinked at the letter inside. Permanent position offer. International Education Coordinator, Hamburg office. Position begins fall term. Her hands trembled. Back in Germany, there would be familiarity, safety, certainty. In Seoul, there was only instability. And yet, her son's father was here. Lisa's journal entry. They want me to marry into the family like it's a business strategy. I didn't come here to join a dynasty. I came for Noah, and now I'm afraid of losing them both. Later. That night, Noah sat on the floor building train pieces when the doorbell rang. Lisa answered to find Hakyun, rain-speckled, eyes burning. Your position in Germany? Are you considering it? Lisa hesitated. I don't want to be trapped, Hakyun. This country, this pressure. I'm not asking you to be trapped. I'm asking you to stay. He stepped forward. I don't care if we're married on paper. I just want to raise our son together, side by side. Lisa whispered, then fight with me. Not for me. Meanwhile, in the hallway, Noah crouched beside the dropped envelope. The job offer slipped halfway out. He read the words, Position begins fall term. He swallowed hard. He stared down the hall at the sound of their quiet voices, emotional, muffled. He turned and walked away, eyes filling. Late that night, the train set sat untouched. Lisa knocked lightly. You okay, baby? No response. She stepped inside. Noah was curled on his side, blanket over his head. Did something happen? He didn't move. She knelt beside the bed. Please talk to me. He finally whispered, voice hollow. You're gonna leave him again, aren't you? Lisa's breath caught. He finally wants us. And you're going to take me away. Her hand trembled. Noah, it's not like that. But the ache in her voice gave her away. He turned his face to the wall. Silence swallowed the room. Lisa's apartment, Seoul. The door was ajar. Lisa's heart stopped as the morning wind nudged it open wider. She ran through the small apartment. Noah? The bed was cold. The window cracked open. Shoes missing. Her voice rose. Noah! Jenny answered her panicked call. Stay there. I'll call the police. Lisa's hands trembled as she called the next number she never thought she'd dial again. Hello? It was Hakyun. She didn't waste a word. Noah's gone. He didn't pause. I'm on my way. 2 hours later, rain swept the city like sorrow in motion. Lisa and Hakyun split up, searching subways, parks, school routes. Lisa's voice cracked from shouting into alleyways. Noah! Noah! Every step crushed her breath. Every glance at a stranger's child twisted the knot in her chest. She passed the cafe where he loved to look at train maps, empty. She passed the bookstore where he once sat for an hour, flipping through logistics magazines. Nothing. Mid-morning, the rain hadn't let up. Under a pedestrian bridge near the Han River, a small figure sat on the stone edge, clutching a damp backpack to his chest. His school project, the miniature train map, was spread out beside him, ruined by water. Ha-kyun approached first, soaked to the skin. Noah. Noah looked up, startled. His eyes were red, his cheeks streaked with cold tears. "I'm sorry," he mumbled. Lisa arrived seconds later, breathless. "No," she gasped, falling to her knees in front of him. "Why did you leave?" she asked, wrapping her arms around him. "I didn't want to be the reason everything broke again," he whispered. "I just got a dad." "Why does everything feel like it's breaking again?" Ha-kyun knelt down beside them. "Noah," he said quietly, "this isn't your fault." "Not 1 second of this." Noah didn't look at him. "I heard you talking," he said. "She has a job in Germany. I thought she was going to take me away." Lisa exhaled, heart aching. "I was scared too, baby, but I was never going to disappear on you." Noah whispered, "I want us to stay." Ha-kyun reached out, placing his hand on Noah's shoulder. "We will," he said. "Even if it's slow, even if it's messy, we'll stay." Noah finally looked up, into the face of the man who had missed 10 birthdays, and found him anyway. "I don't want to be your project," he said. "You're not," Ha-kyun said, voice breaking. "You're my son." Later, in the taxi ride home, the rain softened. Noah slept, head on Lisa's lap in the back seat. Ha-kyun sat beside them, silent. Lisa brushed Noah's curls with one hand, the other clutching a towel over his shoulders. The silence was thick with what hadn't yet been said. When they arrived at her apartment, she looked at Ha-kyun, tired, damp, changed. She spoke quietly as she unlocked the door. "We need to talk, all of us." He nodded once. "I'll come back tonight." Lisa stands at the window, watching Ha-kyun's car disappear down the street. She glances at the table. Noah's soggy school project now spread out to dry. Half the paper is ruined, but the words still visible across the top? The future of transportation, building together. Lisa's apartment. No rain, just a quiet stillness. Lisa sat at the dining table, hands folded. Her face was calm, but her shoulders stiff. A pot of barley tea steamed quietly between 3 empty mugs. Noah sat across from her, sketchbook in hand, doodling a train engine. The knock at the door came gently. She opened it to find Ha-kyun, dressed simply. No suit, no entourage, just a man carrying nothing but a quiet willingness. "You came," she said. "I said I would." He stepped inside. Noah looked up. Ha-kyun sat down beside him without a word, eyes flicking between mother and son. Lisa exhaled. "Let's talk." They started with the letters. Lisa explained how she wrote every week after he left Houston, through pregnancy, through Noah's birth, through postpartum depression, how she sent packages to his family restaurant in Busan, all marked urgent. "I thought you ignored me," she whispered. "I thought you forgot me," Ha-kyun replied. He explained the funeral, his mother's last breath, the promise she demanded, and the guilt that swallowed him afterward. "My uncle told me you cut contact," he said, "that you'd moved on, that you married someone else." Lisa shook her head. "You believed that?" "I was broken. I wanted a reason to let go." Noah watched in silence, his eyes moving between their faces. Then he spoke. "I was the reason you couldn't let go, right?" Lisa nodded. "Yes, baby. You were the reason I kept breathing." Ha-kyun looked at Noah. "And now you're the reason I'm learning to live." Lisa poured tea. "When I found out I was pregnant," she said slowly, "I thought God was punishing me." Ha-kyun's eyes widened. "Lisa, I know better now, but back then, I was alone and ashamed and angry. At you. At God. At myself. She turned the mug in her hands. But he met me in the silence. When Noah wouldn't stop crying and I had no money and I couldn't feel my own soul anymore, God sat with me, not fixing everything, just holding me together. She looked up. And that's the only reason I didn't drown. Ha-kyun didn't speak for a long moment. Then he whispered, "You're stronger than I ever was." "No," Lisa said gently. "I was just held." Later, that week, sunlight streamed through a wall of bookshelves and plants. A Korean-American counselor sat across from them. Noah sat between his parents, a bit squirmy but focused. They talked through routines, through grief, through fear. Lisa cried. Ha-kyun listened. Noah said, "Sometimes I still think he's going to disappear." Ha-kyun's hand reached across the small couch and held his. "I won't," he said. "Even when I mess up, I won't." And for the first time, Noah believed it. Lisa's apartment, later that night. The session left her drained, but lighter. Lisa stood by her bookshelf, pulling down a small shoebox she hadn't opened in years. Inside were photos, hospital bracelets, and letters. Unsent ones, unopened ones. She found the final envelope she had written before she gave up. Dated exactly 10 years ago. Still sealed, still full of ache. She sat across from Ha-kyun at the kitchen table. She placed the envelope in front of him. "I wrote this many years ago," she said softly. "I never mailed it. But I need you to read it." His hand hovered over it. "Can I open it now?" She shook her head. "Not yet. Read it when you're ready, when you want to remember everything, not just the pain." He nodded, slipping it into his coat. "Thank you," he said. Lisa stood, then paused. "We're not healed yet, Ha-kyun. But we're not broken the same way anymore either." Ha-kyun's apartment, midnight. The room was silent except for the ticking of a minimalist wall clock. Ha-kyun sat at his desk, coat still on, the unopened letter in front of him. The candle flickered low, casting soft golden shadows across the polished wood. With trembling fingers, he broke the seal. Lisa's handwriting flowed across the page in faded black ink. And as his eyes moved over the words, her voice began to speak, not in person, but in memory, as if her soul had tucked this letter inside time itself. "Dear Ha-kyun, if this is the last time I write, know this. I never stopped loving you. But I had to stop waiting for you to choose me. I used to believe you vanished because I wasn't enough. Not Korean enough. Not traditional enough. Not rich enough. Not worthy. But tonight, as I sit here holding the most precious gift of all, I know now that I am enough for this child. And that has to be enough for me. I don't know if you'll ever know him. I don't even know if you care. But if you ever wonder who he is, he's light. He's stubborn. He dreams of movement and connection. He's already reaching for things I can't give. And if there's anything of you in him, then maybe one day you'll find your way to him, even if it's late, even if it's broken. Love, Lisa. Next morning, Seoul Grace Fellowship Church. The church was nearly empty. Ha-kyun sat in the very last row, hands folded tight, head bowed. A soft worship song played on the speakers. "Come, thou fount of every blessing." He stared at the wooden cross. Tears slipped down his face, quiet, unforced. "I've built everything the world respects," he whispered, "but I don't know how to be a father, not just a provider. God, help me rebuild what I destroyed." He didn't ask for wealth. He didn't ask for restoration. He asked for the strength to stay. Later that afternoon, Lisa's apartment. Lisa was folding laundry when the doorbell rang. She opened it to find Ha-kyun, soaked from a light drizzle, holding a passport envelope. She blinked. "What's that?" He stepped inside, rainwater dripping gently from his coat. Noah peeked from the hallway. Ha-kyun knelt in front of both of them and opened the envelope. Inside were 3 new family travel passports, bound with a gold H and K stamp across each one. Lisa Monroe, Kim Noah, Kim Ha-kyun. Noah's eyes widened. "We're in the same booklet?" Lisa stared at him. He looked up, gaze unwavering. "I know I've failed every definition of a proposal, but I don't want to propose a title or a ceremony. I want to propose a future for all 3 of us." Lisa didn't speak, so he continued. "This isn't a ring, but it's my name, my access, my legacy, my door, open to both of you, no conditions." He handed Noah his passport. "This is yours now. Forever." He stood, looked Lisa in the eyes. "You don't have to say yes now. I just needed you to know. I choose you. Not as damage control, not as penance, but as home." Lisa opened the passport booklet. Inside, a handwritten note is tucked beneath the page. "This time, I don't want you to walk toward me. I want to walk with you, wherever we're going next." H&K Legal Department, Seoul Tower. Papers were stacked like weapons across a mahogany table. Chairman Kim Byung-shik sat across from a legal team of 3, his voice steady, his expression cold. "We will request an emergency injunction to pause any inheritance filings or parental claim changes," he said. "The foreign woman cannot be trusted. We need time." The lead attorney raised an eyebrow. "On what grounds? Stability, cultural misalignment, no legal marriage, questionable residency status." Silence. Then the door opened, and Ha-kyun entered. Behind him, Lisa Monroe stepped in. Calm, deliberate, stunning in a slate-gray dress. Byung-shik's mouth twisted. "You weren't invited." Lisa laid a folder on the table. "That's fine. I brought my own invitation." She opened the folder. Inside were postmarked envelopes from Houston to Busan. Her original letters to Ha-kyun, never delivered. Copies of her return receipts. Affidavits from the post office confirming delivery. A signed employee statement from the family restaurant's old mail clerk, stating that Chairman Byung-shik ordered all U.S. mail intercepted and destroyed. The room fell silent. Ha-kyun stepped forward. "For 10 years, you told me she abandoned me, that she gave up, that I should erase her. But you erased her first." Byung-shik's composure cracked. "That was business protection." "No, that was bloodline sabotage." Lisa stepped toward the table, unshaken. "Let me be clear. I'm not here to beg for a place at this table. I never needed one. I built my own. But what you will not do is try to erase a boy whose only crime was being born to a mother who didn't look like you." She looked the chairman dead in the eye. "And if you think that name you're protecting means more than the person it was meant to cover, you've forgotten what legacy is." Press conference, 48 hours later. Flashes popped like fireworks as Ha-kyun stood behind a sleek podium. Lisa stood behind him, one hand resting on Noah's shoulder. "I have an announcement to make," he said. Silence fell. "I am officially naming Noah Kim as my legal son, my successor in name, and my legacy, not as a stunt, not as PR, but because he is mine, in every way that counts." He paused. "My company was built on movement, but for the first time, I'm building something that stays." The logo flickered behind him, then shifted. H&K Transport. New motto: Legacy starts at home. The board was quiet. Chairman Byung-shik stood, shoulders heavy. He handed over a formal resignation letter. "I still don't agree with this direction," he said flatly. You don't have to, Hak-yeon replied. You just have to let go. Byung-shik glanced once at Noah, who didn't flinch. He left without another word. Later, that night in the family living room, Lisa tucked a blanket around Noah as he dozed on the couch, still in his little suit from the press event. Hak-yeon sat beside her, watching him. He didn't blink, Hak-yeon said. Not once during the speech. Lisa smiled. He gets that from me. Hak-yeon laughed softly, then turned serious. I don't want to just protect his name. I want to protect his future. With you. She leaned on his shoulder. Then let's build something worth keeping. Hamburg, Germany, early spring. The air was crisp, the sky painted in soft shades of gray-blue. Crocuses bloomed along the sidewalk edges, small signs of life pushing through last winter's soil. Lisa walked slowly down her old street. Noah clutched her left hand, Hak-yeon her right. Her apartment building stood unchanged. Faded bricks, ivy on the side wall, and a broken porch light that flickered when the wind blew. She looked up at it. I carried a newborn up those stairs in the snow, she said. No elevator, no family, just a backpack, a baby, and prayer. Hak-yeon's hand squeezed hers gently. Noah looked up at her. You were strong. Lisa smiled softly. I had no choice. Inside Lisa's old apartment, cardboard boxes, labeled books, folded clothes, a box of Noah's baby toys in the corner. Lisa picked up a tiny train-shaped rattle. Hak-yeon knelt beside her, lifting a photo frame. Lisa holding infant Noah, eyes tired but proud. Every time I thought about giving up, she said, I remembered I wasn't just raising a boy. I was raising the only part of his father I had left. Hak-yeon looked down at the photo in his hand, and I was burying the best part of me in work. He looked up at her. Let me help you carry this out. All of it, not just boxes. The weight. Family day in Hamburg. That weekend, the three explored the city. A quiet, healing tour through Lisa's past. A lakeside bench where she used to pray between shifts. She showed them where Noah took his first steps. The bookstore where she'd once spent nights hiding from the world. Now featuring a translated copy of her education paper in the window. A train station where Noah ran ahead on the platform, shouting out railcar models. Lisa turned to Hak-yeon. He's never needed luxury. He just needed presence. Hak-yeon nodded, watching Noah with misted eyes. I never understood what wealth was, until I saw him smile. Their final evening in Hamburg, the three returned to Lisa's old apartment one last time. In the small courtyard downstairs, quiet, cobblestoned, lit by one flickering lamp. Hak-yeon asked Noah to wait by the steps. Then he turned to Lisa. No big speech, no cameras, just the two of them. I've proposed before with legacy, with strategy, even with guilt. He took her hand. But this time, I propose with clarity, with nothing to offer but a future we build from scratch. He nodded to Noah. The boy stepped forward, shyly holding a small box. Lisa opened it. Inside, a simple but beautiful gold ring. Noah placed it in her palm. It's from both of us, he said. Lisa looked at the ring, at Noah, at Hak-yeon. She didn't cry. She smiled, deep and peaceful. Then whispered, yes. Then added, firmer, only if we stay grounded in love, not legacy. Hak-yeon exhaled. Noah beamed. The three hugged tightly beneath the flickering courtyard light. Seoul, early morning, a small garden chapel. There were no photographers, no red carpets, no viral hashtags or curated floral walls, just lilies, soft violin music, and light filtering through the glass ceiling of a hidden garden chapel tucked in the hills of Bukshan Hanak village. Lisa stood near the wooden doors, hand clutching a small bouquet of cream and olive blossoms. Her dress was simple, flowing satin, no veil, just dignity and grace. Noah adjusted the collar of his little suit beside her. "You okay?" She smiled down at him. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." The pews were few. Jin A, Lisa's pastor from Germany, flown in quietly. Ha Kyun's assistant Minjun, standing off to the side with tears already in his eyes. A couple elders from their church. Soft murmurs settled as the chapel doors opened. Lisa began her walk, but not alone. Noah stood tall beside her, holding her hand as they moved down the aisle together. A hush fell. Every step was a testimony, every smile a story told without words. At the altar, Ha Kyun stood in a light gray hanbok, eyes full of awe, lips parted as if seeing her for the first time all over again. When Lisa reached him, she turned to Noah and cupped his face. "You brought us back. You were the bridge." Noah nodded, eyes wide, then stepped aside, watching as the minister smiled and opened his Bible. The ceremony began. But when it was time for vows, they didn't pull out paper. They simply held hands. Ha Kyun looked into Lisa's eyes. "I never vowed before, but today I will, not to impress a room, but to anchor a home." Lisa's voice trembled slightly, but she spoke clearly. "I vow not to fix what's broken in you, but to love you while you heal." After the rings were exchanged, Lisa and Ha Kyun knelt at the altar. Heads bowed, hands joined. The pastor laid a hand gently on both. "You've come through fire, but not without ashes that testify." Lisa whispered. "What we lost," Ha Kyun echoed, "is you've restored." The pastor added softly, "May this be a house built on the rock. Not riches, not name, but faith." 1 year later, spring in Seoul. The cherry blossoms had returned. This time, they weren't symbols of endings. They were proof that things bloom again. Lisa's classroom. International Christian School of Seoul. Lisa stood at the whiteboard writing, "Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story." Psalm 107, verse 2. Her students, a diverse collection of middle schoolers, copied the verse into their journals. Outside, the schoolyard buzzed with spring fair preparations. A younger teacher walked in with a grin. "Mrs. Kim, your husband is causing a commotion again. He brought drones for the logistics club." Lisa laughed. "Of course he did." Noah's school, STEM logistics club room. "Noah, you're 2 points off perfection again," Ha Kyun said, grinning as he held up a miniature crane model. Noah rolled his eyes. "You're worse than my science teacher." "I am your science teacher." "No, you're a volunteer. There's a difference." They both laughed. 1 year ago, their conversations were stiff, cautious. Now, they were shorthand, heart to heart, without the fear of falling. Family apartment. That evening, Lisa stirred soup while Noah worked on a tablet at the kitchen counter. Ha Kyun entered, dropping a folder marked H&K Youth Foundation on the table. "We've got 20 interns placed in underserved schools next semester," he said. "One in Kenya." Lisa looked up, heart tugging. "Let's go visit." He nodded. "Let's." Noah looked at both of them. "Can I start the homeschool travel proposal again?" They grinned. "You never stopped," Lisa said. Seoul Station, late one afternoon. The platform hummed with travelers, announcements echoing overhead. Lisa stood beside Ha Kyun, one arm around Noah, their luggage stacked beside them. They weren't running away. They were finally going forward. Noah pulled out his phone and began recording video. "We're walking the same station where you two met, right?" he said. Lisa smirked. "Sort of." It's also where he left. Ha-kyun looked at the tracks and then back at her. But this time, I'm not leaving without you. Sometimes, the people who leave aren't gone forever. They just need a reason to come home. The end.